I'm Jeff Hunt. He's Brandon Wark. It's Monday. Billy will be back. He's enjoying vacation. I'm glad he is. He works very hard. He's not only a voice here. You can hear Bill Thorpe on the space station, International Space Station. He does the radio for them as well. So glad he's getting some break and joining us live in studio. Brandon Wark, Free State, Colorado. Go to freestatecolorado.com. freestatecolorado.com with the libertarian take on everything that's happening in the state. We agree on a lot. Some things we disagree on, but that's the Jeff and Bill show where debate happens. That's why we're Denver's top talk radio show. So feel free to join the conversation at 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. This hour, I want to get into Minnesota's industrial scale fraud. That's the line that federal prosecutors are doing now, where they think half of the $18 billion spent on Medicaid may have been fraudulent. And now guys, it's not even Medicaid. It's housing. It's autism care. It's care for the elderly. The entire system was fraudulent. This is where libertarians and I tend to sync up, because when you hand the government a lot of money, well, there's no real consequence for being fraudulent. There's no real accountability that takes place. I mean, guys, the city of Denver, headlines on this, can't even track a third of its money spent on homelessness. And then the voters are like, you know who we should give more money to? Via bond? The city of Denver. Unbelievable.
It's absolutely unbelievable. But you know what, Jeff? It is believable, right? If we pay attention to what the government does, the grift and the ability for them to rip us off is easier than ever. I mean, that's ultimately what it comes down to. And it is crazy. We had that Assistant U.S. Attorney Joe Thompson call it, quote, a staggering industrial scale fraud. I mean, absolutely saying the magnitude cannot be overstated. Even talking about fraud tourism in Minnesota, where people are coming in from Philadelphia, from other states, other parts of the country, and getting some of that money. I mean, you could sign up for it, have this fake NGO, this fake nonprofit, and then get that money sent over, and billions of dollars. And is it happening here in Colorado? Probably.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, there's a HUD investigation going on. We're going to get into that this hour. So, yes, it is likely happening here. We're going to talk all about it. And the undying belief that voters have in handing the government more money to care for people is fascinating. This gets into Proposition LL and MM, and the Colorado Democrats celebrating, we're feeding 600,000 kids. The government's feeding 600,000 kids. At any other point, in any other moment in American history, Americans will look at that and go, what the hell is happening to this community that the government has to step in and feed 600,000 kids? But Colorado's celebrating it. Goodness gracious, we've got a lot to talk about. Now, though, is time for the news.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Hey, good Monday morning. 42 and partly cloudy out there. Feels a little cooler in Denver. A couple days away from Christmas Eve as the sun rises. Expecting a high of 71 today. News sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story, average gas prices in the U.S. are down a nickel a gallon from last week. AAA reports today's average price is $2.85 a gallon. Cheapest gas in the area here in Colorado on the Front Range. The Costco in Westminster, $1.92 a gallon, same as the Costco in Thornton. The U.S. Coast Guard is said to be in pursuit of a third vessel off the coast of Venezuela. The latest activity comes after Pentagon officials confirmed military forces interdicted a tanker carrying sanctioned oil in the Caribbean on Saturday. Aurora police say a teen boy died Sunday after being fatally shot. Police arrived on the scene and found the victim lying in a driveway. Officials say he was pronounced dead on the scene. If you have any information, please call Aurora Police. Jags at the Broncos on Sunday. Early in the third, Broncos down 17-10.
Handoff Harvey, and now a big run up the middle, breaking tackles, and R.J. Harvey on the move, down the sideline. Harvey diving for the pylon. Touchdown Broncos.
Beautiful run. And later in the third, tied at 17. Great game. And then the quarterback, Trevor Lawrence from Jacksonville, goes to work.
Lawrence will keep. Lawrence will walk in, and the Jaguars lead once more.
Takes it in himself. The Jags end the Broncos' 11-game win streak. Lawrence, 279 yards passing, 3 touchdowns in the air, 1 on the ground, the one you just heard. Bo Nix, 352 yards and a touchdown and an interception near the end of the game. A costly fumble on the mesh on an option play. He and the running back. The Broncos still lead the AFC West at 12-3, 34-20 Jags. The final. They're at Kansas City on Christmas Day. They have a couple days to prepare for that game, which is not easy on Christmas Day.
Tough to go on a 12-game streak or 11, whichever one it was. And then, we got hit in the mouth today, and they played a good game. And, we let it get away. But you'd rather have it hit you now than the first round of the playoffs. And, wouldn't call it a wake-up call because we were playing well. It's just one of those that'll reset you and put you back and get you back to, where you need to be. It'll put you in a good mindset if you'll let it. And, like I said, you can't let this one linger. We got to move on and attack this week.
Yep, they could learn a lot from.
No, I think that helps.
This one, yeah. I agree. I agree.
Get them fired up for the playoffs. That these are real tough. Any win in the NFL is a big deal.
Absolutely. It's tough when you're on a win streak like that. You go into I don't know if you want to be on a winning streak going into the playoffs like that. 13, 14 game win streak going in. I'm not sure. I think this will be a blessing for them. They'll take a look at the video and dissect it and then get ready for Kansas City. And you said the tickets said Kansas City. You said we're going for $36.
Yeah, right.
See, I don't want to hear all this about Kansas City. They're the greatest fans in the NFL. They're just like any other fans. It's Christmas Day. I think they have the third string quarterback playing. No
playoffs,
their stars aren't
prospects.
playing.
Yeah, right.
No playoffs. Hey, if you're truly a Chiefs fan and you're from Kansas City, you would be at that game, okay? Don't even get me started on that.
All right.
Give me a break.
So I gotta talk to you about this new show I've been watching on Hulu called Stadium Lockup.
Oh, really?
Okay, it is the security operations for the Browns.
Oh, wow.
Okay, it's live reality television show about what the security has to deal with Browns players. And one of the funniest aspects of it is like as the game goes on, and this happens every game because the Browns lose, that the fans get more and more angry, start to drink more, get more belligerent, and it becomes this just chaos as they deal with the team losing more and more and more. And it is amazing the whole psychology behind it of trying to talk them down. Like, listen, sometimes these fans just want to vent, and you just take them out of the stands down to the concourse, and you're just like, what's going on, man? And they're like, quarterback, we've never had a good quarterback. And they're just, Okay, well, just can you tone it down on the drinking? Okay, yeah. All right. And they just send the guy back up, and he just
Really?
the rest of the game.
So the psychological
He just
aspect
needed
of
somebody
it, huh?
to talk to.
Right, exactly. Just someone to lean on.
Right.
That's funny.
And then every once in a while you get the guys that are just so hammered that there's nothing you can do. They're
That's
so
frightening.
belligerent. They're basically openly urinating on the concourse, that type of thing. And they have the drunk tank down below, so they take them down there, and then they get arrested and processed. Fascinating. It's on Hulu. It's called Stadium Lockup, and it's the Browns. Like classic. Of course, it's the Browns.
So how long has this show been on?
I don't know.
Is this the first
2025, first season. Yep, first season.
Okay, I gotta check that out.
It is funny. It's entertaining to watch.
I
and
bet.
we watch it with the kids. And
I bet they really enjoy
it
it.
is amazing to watch like middle school and high school kids be like, yeah, there's a whole nother level of stupidity out there. And I'm like, yeah,
Right.
I know. Like, you were raised better. Like, already, right now, 12 years old, you were raised with better self-awareness
Yep.
than these people that you're watching on Stadium Lockup who are making bad decisions into their 50s.
You know, they call, I think it's the North End in Cleveland. They still call it
Yeah.
the Dog Pound?
Yep.
Do they,
Yep.
do they, okay.
Get into
Okay.
those
It
guys
used to
and all
be
that
even
stuff.
worse at the old stadium.
And the other thing that's funny about it is how much security is just trying to get them off the premises, because once they do,
Yeah.
it's not their problem anymore.
Right.
So
Right.
they're just, can we just get you out the door and into an Uber? You could be somebody else's problem.
So they don't have to get any paperwork signed to show these people drunk, right? Because they're in the stadium.
So it has that disclaimer right at the beginning that says,
It does?
in the ticket that you purchased, you have agreed to be recorded. They have 500 cameras. Here's the other thing that's wild about this is they have cameras pointed everywhere, right? Not just the field. We think about the field.
Yeah.
They are watching everybody
Yeah,
in the
absolutely.
stands everywhere. So if there's a dispute, for instance, on episode 3, there's a dispute over a guy that throws an old guy that throws beer on a young guy. Well, that's because the young the young guy gets arrested first because he throws a punch, right? So he's all mad. He's like, no, the old guy threw beer on
He
me.
started
So
it.
they go back in and like they can get down to your face in the stands and see that it was the old dude that threw the beer first. So
Who
then they let
started it?
Yep. And then they let the young guy go.
Wow, man, that is interesting. I got to watch that. And you said episode 3. How many episodes have you watched?
Dude, there's 10 of them. There's 10 of them. It is amazing. It's some of the best
Hunt
reality
family
out
is
there.
surrounding the TV,
Right.
watching
the
clowns. Absolute clown show. Oh, that's great, man. That is, it's a great deterrent too for the
It is.
Browns and
I will
future
tell
game.
you,
Nobody wants to show up on that.
They
I wouldn't
have
think.
they have a no tolerance rule on one thing, which is kind of interesting. Like if you do even a little bit of this thing, you're out immediately.
Wow.
Can you guess what it is?
Let's see. It isn't throwing anything. I mean, if you throw a cup or anything, right?
A little bit, but they give a tolerance on that.
Really?
They've allowed people to go back to the stands
No
that punch
kidding.
people. They allow
Okay.
openly drunk. There's one episode where this guy is so drunk he's eating hot dogs off the ground. They allowed him to stay. Okay.
Wow.
But if
really?
you vape,
Oh, no kidding.
once,
Wow.
you take one puff,
Wow.
you're out. And they
Really?
write down your name and all this stuff. It's kind of interesting.
Wow. That's fascinating, man. I guess I know what I'll be doing on Christmas.
Watching Stadium Lockup.
Stadium lockup. Love it. All right, Turning Points America Fest is in the books. VP JD Vance on Sunday.
I have heard you. I know that some of you are impatient at the pace of progress, and my response to that is good. Be impatient. Use that desire for justice for your country as fuel to get involved in this movement in a bigger and better and more powerful way. I know some of you are discouraged by the infighting over any number of issues. Don't be discouraged. Wouldn't you rather lead a movement of free thinkers who sometimes disagree than a bunch of drones who take their orders from George Soros?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, what'd you
Great-
think,
great
Blake?
point.
Did you watch any of the speeches?
I
The
did.
drama?
Yeah, the drama. I texted you about this. I didn't even realize. I didn't hear the Ben Shapiro where he let it off, and I thought he
Yep.
was ridiculous. And then I liked what Tucker said when he came out there in response the same day, the night later that night. I think it was Thursday night. So yeah, there's a lot of things going on with the whole thing. I just, what JD Vance said there was, I thought was perfect. How about you?
So, and I want to get Brandon's, I was going to say Mark. Brandon Warwick's take on this as well. Brandon's sitting in with Bill, Free State, Colorado. When I hosted Shapiro in 2016 at the Western Conservative Summit, I had Sarah Palin, Donald Trump, and Shapiro. That night, Shapiro called Donald Trump a rat.
Wow.
Whoa. So Shapiro's always liked to try to take this role of like resetting the conservatives.
Yes.
So it wasn't totally surprising to me, but anybody who's been in the conservative movement, and Brandon, I want to get your take on this, knows there's a ton of infighting, a ton of it. I mean, you can't even get a pro-life group together without the pro-lifers all yelling, "You're not pro-life enough." So there's Democrats all get lined up, except for this year. You're starting to finally see some infighting down at the state capitol between moderate Dems and the socialists. But for the most part, Republicans always battle each other. You're a libertarian. We battle each other. Brandon, your thoughts on Turning Point? I don't know if you tracked any of that.
Oh, definitely. I think it's so exciting because there's so much vibrancy and health to the conservative community right now in the United States, right? I mean, the names you're mentioning, like Ben Shapiro and Tucker Carlson and others, they're the thought leaders in our country, and a lot of young people are really latching on to them. You can't say that about the left. You can't say that there's this vibrant, healthy community
No, Jasmine Crockett is brilliant. She's brilliant. Brandon, I'm not going to stand for this. Unbelievable.
So, there's the infighting.
He just goes right by it.
But the infighting is not necessarily a bad thing, though. I mean, I agree a lot with what the vice president said there. The fact that there's so much communication, that there's so much energy, and there's so much excitement on the conservative side right now. And linking back to our conversation on podcasts and things like that. I mean, who are the top voices in the American culture right now? It's mostly conservative, and I think that's something that should be really exciting.
Yeah.
Great point.
I agree.
So, but you don't see the division as problematic? You think they'll...
There's always...
does Candace bother you at all?
I don't know how much time we got here, Jeff, but the infighting, there's always going to be the infighting, but it's great that there's so much independence, there's so many different thoughts, and I think with our new technologically based kind of entertainment and news industry, there's room for everybody, right? That's just it.
Candace she's out to lunch. Even Alex Jones is like, turn it down a little bit. Did you see that, Blake?
Yeah,
did you see
I
Alex
did.
Jones?
I did. You and Alex Jones agree, Jeff. And you know what? He brings up great points, and so does Candace.
Is she on this week, by the way?
Oh yeah, I think she's on today. I think I'll be watching that after stadium security guys or whatever.
Yeah, she deserves to be locked down. Okay, go ahead.
And one of the biggest, she's got one of the biggest voices and one of the biggest audiences in the world right now in our country. I mean, the views she gets, the interest she gets, the following that she has is nothing to be laughed at that way. You know what I mean? So agree, disagree. She's doing something extremely interesting and extremely powerful in the in the United States conservative cultural movement, I would say.
But I guess, guys, here's the question I have for you, both you guys. Ben Shapiro's speech was about boundaries. And at a certain point, you're no longer a conservative, right? If you go out there and go, wow, kill babies at any point, I don't care. You're not a conservative at that point. If you believe that the government should be out there solving our problems and we need to tax Elon Musk more, you're not a conservative. So Where do those boundaries exist, and at what point is it right to go, you're off the reservation?
Go ahead, Brandon.
I mean, we can always have those conversations for sure about where that line is, and especially on the libertarian side that I'm a part of. Oh my gosh, you'll never meet a true libertarian, right? Every libertarian thinks they're the more libertarian than the next guy, right? The infighting is insane. But we have to have those conversations, and ultimately it's going to be determined by the market. I mean, right? That's the conservative line right there. It's going to be the free market. Who's getting the views? Who's getting the audience? And how does that translate to votes? And how does that translate to money? And how is that going to last over time? That's ultimately, it's who can outlast and who can maneuver the other people. So we'll see, but it's exciting, and I think there's a lot of vibrancy in the conservative community in the United States right now. And AmFest got a lot of friends down there, and I know they're having a blast, and it's really exciting to see.
That's great.
Blake, what did you think of Shapiro's talk?
I'll tell you what. I thought Tucker hit it on the head. Here is Tucker responding to that. I thought it was great.
I just got here, and I feel like I missed the first part of the program. Hope I didn't miss anything meaningful. But I just want to say, I don't think I did. No, I'm just kidding. I watched it. I laughed. That kind of bitter, sardonic laugh that emerges from you when, like, Upside Down World arrives. When your dog starts doing your taxes and you're like, wait, it's not supposed to work this way. To hear calls for, like, deplatforming and denouncing people at a Charlie Kirk event, I'm like, what? This is hilarious.
See, I agree with him. And that's what listening to Shapiro. That's what's going through my mind when I heard it the first time. I'm like, what? This is the left. So. Yeah, I'm right there with Brandon. As many ideas as possible. Continue to ask questions. And if it's a lie and you're reporting it or saying it, then that's a different thing. I mean, but I love the voices.
How about no Candace on stage there?
Yeah, that didn't bother me. I mean, she didn't go to the funeral. It just, turning point is turning point. And a politician, I mean, we got to be careful of idolatry in all this as well. I mean, it's an organization. It's a great organization from what Charlie did. But I don't know any of the other people at Turning Point. I didn't listen to them.
Well, I'll tell you this. I'm thrilled to see the size and the impact. It's now bigger than CPAC. We were at CPAC last year. And I was one of the early, I think we might have been the very first school to put money behind Turning Point when it was back then called the Student Action Summit, CCU sponsored back in 2018. So I've watched Student Action Summit, now America Fest, grow, and to see Erica take it now to 30,000, Nicki Minaj, J.D. Vance, and it has become the definer of the conservative movement in America, is a fulfillment of what Charlie always wanted. And there's a great video. You go back to the Centennial Institute's very first Charlie Kirk video in 2013. This is what separated Charlie from most people. Brandon, I get the sense you're very similar to this. Charlie's just talking about this brand new organization he started a year earlier, and he's like, I got flyers in my pocket to tell you about Turning Point. Like, it's so innocent. Charlie didn't need big audiences. He was so driven to the mission that he'd go talk to two people on the side of the street to try to encourage them to embrace free market conservative principles. Later in life, Christianity. He got very serious about his faith. But early on, it was mostly just free market stuff. But that was Charlie. Charlie was such a happy warrior that the numbers didn't matter to him in the sense that he would go and talk to anybody. But to see the fulfillment of that into all the hard work he did, 30,000 people, the energy, the excitement is a fulfillment of his hard work. And then to see Erica, she hasn't gone, well, we're going to pass Turning Point on to somebody else and I'm just going to kind of disappear. To see her front and center, to see her continuing the legacy, absolutely fantastic. I was thrilled to see. In fact, I was having some of the worst FOMO of my life just because I'm at a stage of life where I can't travel that much with our family responsibilities. But to see everybody there, to see the energy and the excitement and the impact. I was just thanking God for Charlie's life and the impact he had. But I don't know. Brandon, any remarks on that?
No, just incredible energy, incredible excitement. I mean, there's a lot of reasons to be excited about the future of the country, and a lot of it is due to Charlie Kirk and the organization and the media landscape that he created through all his efforts and all his work. And, you know, nobody's going to fill those shoes necessarily, but there's a lot of people who are going to try, and that's a good thing.
All right. I disagree with Jeff on a few things, but I'll do that in
What?
in the next hour.
Never happens on this show.
You don't have time for that. All right, the Colts and the Niners tonight. Can Phillip Rivers win? We'll see. Jazz at the Nuggets this evening. The Avs extended their winning streak to 5 games with a 5-1 win over the Wild in Minnesota. 41 in Parker, 40 in Arvada, 42 in Denver. You're waking up with Jeff and Bill. Brandon is in for Billy, the pride of Kersey, and the Platte Valley Broncos, by the way. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Unseasonably warm, dry weather will continue through another week and through this Christmas week here in Denver with much above average temperatures and likely dry conditions, although the high country by Christmas Day will be getting some chances of snow. The Front Range and Eastern Plains will stay dry. 60s and lower 70s today, mid to upper 30s tonight, mid to upper 60s tomorrow, mid to upper 60s for Wednesday, and into Thursday, a bit cooler for Friday and the weekend. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Billy's out this week. Brandon Wark, Free State Colorado's live in studio. By the way, go to his website, freestatecolorado.com, freestatecolorado.com. Lots of great reporting, analysis coming from the Liberty lifestyle. All right, let's go to the phone lines. By the way, feel free to join the conversation by giving us a call at 303-696-1971 or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line 720-819-5115. Frank Evergreen. Good morning, Frank. You're on with Jeff and Brandon.
Hey, good morning. As much as I disagree with Billy, I do miss him when he's gone.
So that's how everybody is. It's kind of like,
So anyway, I grew up listening to William F. Buckley sitting on with my father on the couch, and that conservative movement, I'll call it a movement, whatever, failed miserably over the last 40 years, 50 years. And so the new conservative movement, I'm hopeful, but I'm just not optimistic that it will do any better than they did, because, what I'm hearing people say, and I think Brandon said it too, more or less, was that the Democrats, basically are a Madison Avenue advertising firm, and the Republicans need to turn into that, become that same thing to be successful, which means, it's just, I don't know, because that means they don't really have a vision if they just become a advertising firm that sells whatever people are buying. But the other thing too is that conservatives, Nixon, of course, one of the biggest conservatives of all time, he opened up China, supply and demand. He was a supply and demand guy, and now the conservative movement is looking at maybe shutting down China or maybe managing it better. I don't know, but I'm curious, Brandon, and where do we end up here? I mean, I want you to succeed. Trust me, I've been wanting you to succeed for 50 years, but it just hasn't happened. Where do we go?
Great question. Go ahead, Brandon Wark.
Well, we got to get the youth, right? I mean, that's a big thing, I think, on the left, on the Democratic side, and the taking over of public schools, public education, and the media in so many respects has really led to kind of this leftward shift of our culture ultimately. And now with the new technology that we have, I think there's more of a rightward shift that's capable of happening, as we're talking about with the Ben Shapiros and the Tucker Carlsons and others out there, what Charlie Kirk kind of did. So I think there's some incredible opportunity there, but ultimately, Frank, it does have to turn into organization. It does have to turn into a vision and a dream and a plan. There has to be something that you can sell to people, not in the Madison Avenue way, but in the part that reaches to their heart and to their soul about a better future that is possible. And we know freedom, free markets, that kind of thing is what's going to create a better country for us.
Well, I think there's two things at play here. So one, regarding the Madison Avenue thing, as a wife who ran for office and won this, unfortunately she had a husband who had a master's degree in political management, but I'll tell you firsthand what happens if you raise your hand in Colorado and say, I'm going to run for office. Nothing. Not a single thing happens if you're a Republican. If you're a Democrat, what happens is you're going to start to get phone calls from particular organizations, and they're going to go, well, we're going to build your website for you. We're going to do your fundraising for you. We're going to do your grassroots outreach. We just need you to basically sign on the dotted line. We got it all taken care of. So that's what Republican candidates are facing in this state. They face an entire system. They face an entire system that's set up to get them elected. And Republicans, well, you're out there on their own. In fact, the state party is dealing with so much infighting, it's not there to help you. Go ahead, Frank.
So Republicans, you're admitting, and I'm not admitting is not the right word, but we're saying that the Republicans didn't leverage the NGO thing, and with good reason, because Republicans are too busy out there working, making a living.
Yeah.
Democrats sitting around eating bonbons on the couch watching Oprah. So the thing is, what? So how? My question is, I think in the back of my mind, how do we shut down this NGO thing? This is absurd that we give money to NGOs. They tax me. They give my money to NGOs. The NGOs then go campaign for Democrats. I mean, how do we shut that down?
Because that's how they get their money, and they need it. No, the entire system.
But how do we shut that down? I mean, can a law be passed? How do you get that shut down?
Go ahead.
Well, look at what they did with USAID, right? I mean, that's a big thing right there, is really shutting off that money supply. And that's something that I'm really excited about with what the Trump administration's been doing, is really cutting off that pipeline. And this investigation in Minnesota, we need those kind of investigations here in Colorado for sure, because we do have state legislators, Democrat state legislators, whose nonprofits, whose NGOs are actually getting money from the taxpayers. I mean, talk about a conflict of interest. You're passing legislation, signing bill, or getting bills passed that's going to directly financially benefit you, and then you can use that for campaign purposes as well. But I got to tell you, Frank, most of the nonprofits that are actually getting Democrats elected in Colorado are not necessarily receiving taxpayer money. They are receiving money from big donors, not to throw Soros out there, but there's plenty here in Colorado. Think of the Blueprint and the Gang of Four, Pat Stryker and them, that are really funding these organizations that are recruiting, training, and then building these campaigns for candidates like Bill had talked about.
Yeah, Frank, we got to get to a break. Sure, appreciate the call. Thanks so much. That's Frank in Evergreen. Feel free to join the conversation. His line is open, 303-696-1971, or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line, 720-819-5115. Heidi Ganol, I do know, is trying to build systems similar to what the left has done in order to empower Republicans to get elected. So Heidi's out there using that entrepreneurial spirit. All right, folks, let's talk Gyrie's. My wife and I have had an absolutely fantastic experience at Gyrie's. They're all over the Denver metro area. We went to the one in Parker, got to sit down with their professional designer, and they showed us an incredible selection of Hunter Douglas custom blinds, shades, and shutters. I was a little overwhelmed at first. I've never worked with a personal designer. I was mostly afraid of the cost of that, and I figured I could do it myself. But after visiting Home Depot 19 times and having to rebuy the things because I get it wrong all the time, I'm like, you know what? Let's try the personal designer. One, it wasn't that expensive. And two, they helped us with everything. Find the perfect options to enhance the look and functionality of our home. They answered all of my wife's questions, which was awesome. So whether your curtains are clashing or you just want a fresh look, Gyrie's has the solutions for you. Their designers are the experts, and they can help you with everything from window treatments to full room decor. But here's the best part. They offer a personalized in-home consultation. That means they come directly to you. So you can get the same expert advice right in your own home. Do yourself a favor. Get started today. Visit Gyrie's.com to schedule your in-home consultation. That's GUIRYS.com. Go see the great people at Gyrie's. You'll be sure to thank me. All right, we'll continue. Joe, you're up next. Join the conversation. Give us a call. You're listening to The Jeff and Bills Show, Denver's news talk leader, News Talk 710 KNUS. Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Bill is out this week, enjoying some time with family. He'll be back after the new year. In the meantime, Brandon Wark's joining us live in studio. He is the founder, runs freestatecolorado.com, freestatecolorado.com, a great libertarian web news outlet. You got to check them out, freestatecolorado.com. Let's go back to the phone lines. Joe in Arvada. Good morning, Joe. You're on with Jeff and Brandon.
Good morning, Jeff. Brandon, welcome. You know, I agree with Brandon in some respects. I mean, obviously, free capitalism is the only answer to our economy. But what's really holding us back is division. See, I go to a church. This year's word was unity. Unity. Okay, Brandon, we are a two-party system, not three, two. And if we diverge into disunity, we will lose. Oh, wait, divided, we fall, right? United, we win. Victory is through unity.
Yeah, no, Joe, I don't definitely agree with you there. You know, divide and conquer, and you keep divided to keep conquered. We see a lot of efforts to divide us, to push us apart from each other. But, you know, we're talking about two different things here in my mind. From the cultural entertainment landscape of all the different voices at AmFest and other places, you know, podcasters and things like that, the controversy and the drama and all the different people there, I think that's exciting and that's fun. When you're talking about a specific political candidate, sure, there needs to be unity around a vision. There needs to be unity around an idea, a principle, a philosophy to get people elected. But ultimately, so much of the talk I hear, Joe, on unity is wanting somebody else to come in and solve our problems for us, right? We need to unify around this candidate.
No.
We need to, well, sure, and I'm not talking about you specifically, but generally speaking, right? So sure, in our own community, in Arvada, rally around that great city council candidate, get united around a great mayoral candidate or a good ballot measure, which we're going to have plenty of them coming up in 2026.
No. Unite around the party leader of our unified Republican Party, Donald Trump. See, that's where you guys need to your come to Jesus moment. In fact, I would say this in general, since I am becoming or learning to become a pastor. I'm really a lay pastor right now. What you libertarians really need is your come to Jesus moment.
But Joe, does unity mean that you have to agree with everything they say? Does it mean you can't challenge them? Does it mean you can't criticize them? Because I get criticized a lot because I'll challenge somebody like our Representative Gabe Evans, or I'll challenge Jeff Hurd, or some of these other people out there who are maybe good leaders on some level, but they're making poor decisions. And if we don't speak up, if we don't use our voices, then nothing's going to change. We have to call out the good and the bad all around.
Let me give you an example. Rand Paul and Thomas Massey. They were great voices for the Republican Party when they stayed in unity with the Republican Party.
Joe,
now
Rand Paul,
they could say
Rand Paul and Thomas Massey are great voices for America. They're great voices for liberty.
No.
There's a reason why they have so much say, because they're saying things that the people of America want to say. We want liberty, we want freedom, and we want free markets. It doesn't mean rallying behind and unifying behind a leader. We're unifying around principles.
Okay, let me just again voice my opposition to what you're saying. I'm fine with them saying what they disagree with. What I am not fine with is when you, as a Republican Party member, become in disunity with President Donald Trump of the Republican Party. Then you must be purged from the party. Because it's not about just a voice. It's about when you become the opposition. When every vote you're making is a Democrat vote, you are in opposition. What do you not understand?
Joe, it's called accountability, and we have to hold these politicians to account regardless of what party they're a member of. If the tariffs are hurting our economy, we call it out.
That's why libertarians must be held accountable and purged if they do not unify with the Republican Party. Thank you.
Joe, appreciate the call. Brandon, I'll give you the final word.
No, I appreciate the passion and I appreciate the energy. And I hear it a lot because people want to unify, right? We want to have a leader we can trust in and follow. Don't get me wrong. It's a compelling thing of who we are as humans, right? Ultimately, but man is fallible. As we know, people make mistakes. There are policies that are wrong. And if they're wrong, they need to be called out. We need to course correct. If we don't call out, say, for example, Congressman Jeff Hurd when he votes to protect Ilhan Omar, when we don't call out Gabe Evans for not protecting kids from these horrific trans surgeries, then how are they going to get any better? You know what I mean? This 11th commandment type of thing of don't speak ill of Republicans is part of the reason why the Republican Party struggled as much as it did over the last 30 plus years. We need values.
But do you think libertarians should be running candidates in these general elections? I mean, if, for instance, let's use Gabe Evans. If libertarians run a candidate in this congressional race, Gabe could lose and you end up with Manny the vegan.
No, I think libertarians and most people, regardless of what your party affiliation is, if you believe in liberty, if you believe in freedom, run for city council, run for your county commissioner. We have to focus on the local level. That's where ultimately we can make the best change. Run for school board, for example. That's what we need to focus on. Should libertarians run for anything more than that? Probably not. Support a good pro-liberty Republican. If they're a bad anti-liberty Republican, then heck, run against them. That's fine. I'm okay with that. But we also need to run against Democrats in the Democratic Party. We need this full force, full frontal attack on multiple levels. It's got to be that level of engagement and guerrilla warfare on every aspect of our political system if we want to achieve victory for liberty.
That's Brandon Work. Brandon's live in studio as Billy's taking a vacation. Check out his website, freestatecolorado.com, freestatecolorado.com, the liberty lifestyle. All right, let's talk Dan Caplis with Dan Caplis Law. I've known Dan for well over a decade. This guy is solid as a rock when it comes to his values, when it comes to getting justice for people in Colorado. Dan, the son of a police officer and a former seminarian who's dedicated the last 40 years of his life to helping people who've been hurt in serious motor vehicle crashes. And you may have seen the headline with regards to a wrongful death suit, that young family that lost that young girl at the Glenwood Springs amusement park accident. Well, he represented the family and discovered that the company had a workaround for alarms that were going off that resulted in the death of that young girl. They were training their employees. And that was discovered because Dan did research and dove into the case and won a $200 million verdict for that family, setting a strong precedent that's going to keep all of our kids safe at amusement parks. I mean, that's he's changing the culture, changing law as a result of it. Dan Caplis is believed to be the only lawyer in Colorado history to win 5 straight multi-million-dollar verdicts in Colorado crash cases. Dan is also believed to have won the largest truck crash verdict in Colorado state history. In fact, Dan Caplis Law is so trusted that they're the official law firm partner of the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche. Dan Caplis Law is a serious firm for serious cases. Dan accepts righteous injury cases on a percentage fee basis so that he can represent good people from all walks of life without regard to ability to pay. So if you need Dan's help, give him a call. Here's the phone number, 303-770-5551. 303-770-5551 or hit dancaplisLaw.com. That's Dan, C-A-P-L-I-S Law.com. All right, coming up, we'll get to the phone lines. They're hot today. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Billy out this week enjoying some much-needed, deserved time off. Live in studio with us, Brandon Wark, Free State, Colorado, freestatecolorado.com. Let's go back to the phone lines. Jacob in Denver. Good morning, Jacob. You're on with Jeff and Brandon.
Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Brandon. How are you two?
Great. What's on your mind?
I kind of I'm a libertarian myself, so I heard that man Joe call in, and I called to break bread, essentially. You know, I was joking myself that I was ready to fight, but ultimately I think there is some common ground here. And the pushback I would give to Joe there is last year we had a libertarian run for county commissioner in Arapahoe. There was no Republican. The Republican Party endorsed our candidate, and there were still Republicans that did not want to support him because he wasn't a Republican. So what I would say is, you know, this does go both ways. You know, getting on ballots, Colorado is certainly the easiest. Other states can be difficult. Ohio is having it out right now. There are a lot of libertarians who would rather support Vivek instead of running a candidate. But if the libertarians don't run specifically a governor candidate, they lose their ability to be on the ballot all over the place. So, you know, these ballot laws can make things difficult. But what I'm sort of pitching here is what both Republicans and libertarians and any freedom-minded people in Colorado need is I think we need some local coalitions, some local liberty coalitions where there are not partisan races. I originally here from New York. I came to this state because of the freedom-mindedness. I did not come here to vote crazy liberal policies. And with things like Tabor, with things like all the local control that we have, it's very important that we don't lose that. And so while at these higher ranking races, there is certainly plenty of argumentation to have. And I would say one thing Republicans do have to keep in mind is I think Republicans are not quite lockstep like Democrats. I don't think that's a bad thing. But ultimately, it was issues with the Nixon administration that caused Republicans to break off and create the Libertarian Party. So I think on a local level, that's where we really need to start supporting each other. And in cases where you don't have a Republican or a Libertarian running, but you maybe have the opposite. You know, you're a Republican.
Jacob, we got to get to a break here. I'm going to give Brandon 30 seconds. Go ahead. Closing remarks, Brandon.
Hey, Jacob, really glad you called in. Thank you, sir. But also, yeah, I know you bring up a great point, and this is what we did with Gabe Evans. You know, I was proud to be a part of that, where we had a libertarian candidate drop out after Gabe Evans signed the Liberty Pledge and basically said, hey, you libertarians can join and feel good voting for me because I'm going to support pro-liberty values. And we need more of that. We're going to win by addition, not subtraction. We need more people coming together, especially at the local level. So great points.
We'll continue into the next hour. Join the conversation, 303-696-1971. Billy out this week. Brandon Wark, Free State, Colorado is in. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710, KNUS.